All right, criminal defenses part 2. Consent, easy. The victim knowingly and voluntarily consented. Knowing and voluntary consent. The crime has to involve bodily contact or the taking of property. All right, so then what crimes are we talking about? Assault, battery, rape, and the theft crimes, larceny, probably embezzlement, false pretenses. Okay, but remember, the crime has to involve bodily contact or the taking of property. So you can consent to assault, you can consent to battery, you can consent to rape, you can consent to false imprisonment, you can consent to, I don't know if you can consent to kidnapping or not, but you can definitely consent to those. Or taking of property. Larceny is definitely one where you can consent to someone's trespassory taking of your property. Okay. Knowing and voluntary consent. The crime involves bodily contact or taking of property. What can't you do? Just like in torts, you can't exceed the scope of consent or cause great bodily harm or death. Okay. The victim did what? Knowingly and voluntarily consented. The crime involves what? That's right, bodily contact or the taking of property. And what can't you do? Exceed the scope of consent or cause great bodily harm or kill a person. That's consent. Self-defense and defense of others are the same elements. Okay, so they can defeat or they can mitigate criminal liability. In particular, imperfect self-defense would mitigate criminal liability. Self-defense and defense of others have the same 3 elements. There's an imminent threat of force. The accused's belief is reasonable, and the force used in response is proportional. Easy. There's an imminent threat of force to the accused. The belief that the force is about to be used is reasonable, and the response was proportional. So we can boil this down to imminent threat, reasonable belief, proportional response. Self-defense, defense of others. Imminent threat, reasonable belief, proportional response. Imminent threat, reasonable belief, proportional response. All right, can you meet deadly force with deadly force? Yes, but only if you have a reasonable belief that the aggressor is about to kill you or cause you great bodily injury. Okay, quick on defense of others. If you're in your home, do you have a duty to retreat? No. If you are attacked in your own home, you have no duty to retreat. If you're threatened with deadly force, do you have a duty to retreat? No. Okay, and what about if you, Mr. Accused, were the initial aggressor, but the victim turns around and escalates it? You can use the defense you can use self-defense as a defense. All right, if the victim turned it around and became the aggressor, self-defense is a defense. Just remember, the accused always has the burden of proof on all affirmative defenses. Okay, and that's self-defense, defense of others. Moving on. Okay, defense of property. Reasonable use of force to prevent an imminent intrusion to your property. Reasonable or proportionate use of force to prevent imminent intrusion or interference with your property. Okay, this is similar to torts. Remember, there's no duty to retreat if you're in your own house. Can you use deadly force if someone is threatening deadly force against you. Yes. Does this apply in the home? Yes. Somebody breaks into your house with a gun. Yes, you're allowed to use deadly force. Somebody breaks into your house with a crowbar and, is about to use it on you. Yes, you can probably use deadly force. If someone's coming after you in your house with a deadly weapon, you can use deadly force, and that is considered defense of property. You're in your home. You don't have a duty to retreat. Otherwise, deadly force is never allowed just to defend your property. On your land, it is not the Wild West. You are not allowed to use deadly force like shooting someone who jumps your fence. You can only use deadly force when there's an unlawful intrusion into your home. Okay, so let's go to those elements. 1, a reasonable use of force to protect against what? Intrusion or interference with your property. And we never get deadly force unless someone's attacking you in your home with deadly force. That's defensive property. Okay, we've got 2 more. Imperfect self-defense. Okay, so this is used as a defense to murder to reduce the charge. Imperfect self-defense, there's 3 elements. You have a 1, honest but unreasonable belief that 2, your life is in danger. You have 1, an honest but unreasonable belief that your life is in danger. So the 3rd element is that this can reduce the charge. Okay, you have an honest but unreasonable belief that your life is in danger. So you kill someone. This may reduce your charge to manslaughter, but it doesn't entirely excuse the killing. Imperfect self-defense is always to, that's right, murder or some sort of intentional killing. So you have an honest but, that's right, unreasonable belief that your life is in danger, and this may reduce the charge to manslaughter, but it's not going to entirely excuse the killing. Imperfect self-defense is a defense, not an excuse to a murder or intentional killing, where you have an honest but unreasonable belief that your life is in danger. Last one, entrapment. This is an easy one. Okay, there's 1, improper government inducement, and 2, the accused wasn't otherwise predisposed to commit the crime. So easy. Entrapment. 1, the government improperly induced the accused to commit the crime, and 2, the accused was otherwise not predisposed. Okay, predisposition destroys entrapment. Remember it that way. Okay, if you are not predisposed to commit the crime, then you have a defense. But if you are predisposed to commit the crime, predisposition destroys the entrapment defense. Okay, so this is sometimes called the unwary criminal doctrine. Predisposition destroys the entrapment defense. If you're just an unwary criminal, then the government didn't improperly induce you to do something you wouldn't otherwise do. You were already predisposed to buy that cocaine or whatever it was. Okay, but our 2 elements are government improper inducement. 2, the accused is not predisposed. And 3, predisposition to commit the crime destroys the entrapment defense. And that's it. 1 defense to go, and that's insanity.